What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the How's Your Touch podcast, episode 18 now, I believe. I'm joined here yet again with Turville. Turv, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Fantastic. And a very special guest, back-to-back guest episodes for you guys. We've got the president of the Fitzroy Futsal Club, Jimmy Soufis. Jimmy, how's it going?
Very well, Luki. Yourself?
Good, man. I am doing very well.
We're excited to have you on, Jimmy. I've been looking forward to it. We've been trying to scout you for a while, but it's taken 18 episodes.
No, pleasure to be here. Thank you, guys.
So for those of you guys who don't know, so Jimmy and I used to work together for Futsal Oz at Thomastown on Sundays. Jim, I reckon we spent the best part of 3 years together every Sunday.
Yeah, it was good times over those 3 years. Doing the State League and League One. So yeah, it was good fun.
I feel sorry for you, Jimmy. I gotta live with the dude now, so I know what it's like, man. I know what it's like.
What do you mean? Nothing's like. But yeah, so that's how I know Jimmy, and obviously we became good friends, and now here we are. So that's the intro.
Yeah.
But Jim, normally we start off by saying, what we've been doing this week, but it's been back to work for you, right?
Yeah, I've been back to work now for say 5-6 weeks. Just working on the stadium. We opened up this week. Nights doing court bookings and whatnot. So yeah, it's been good to get back to some sort of normality inside futsal. It's good.
How have you been keeping yourself busy with futsal related stuff over the lockdown period, or have you just taken a bit of a break from it?
I took a bit of a break, probably 2 months, 2.5 months. Didn't really do much to do with futsal, and now we're training again, so that's good. And yeah, everyone's sort of coming back in slowly, which is good to see. So hopefully the league restart isn't too far away for us.
Yeah, how did you find that after taking 2.5 months off, like you said, and coming back into training? Because I don't know if you've been following any of our stuff on social media, but we've been trying to keep the kids active and keep the kids keeping touches on the ball and keeping relatively futsal fit over the whole isolation period. But how did you find that personally, coming back into training after that long off?
Yeah, look, it was good. I felt really good. It gave me personally time to do some more strength work and work on a few injuries that I had for a little while. So coming back on the court, I felt pretty good after training. Yeah, saw your stuff as well, which was really good to see. You guys doing that with the kids. We haven't really personally done too much with our kids. I think we just gave them a bit of a break. I think they were sick of seeing Scott Rogan's head. So
Who wouldn't
a few months off from him yelling at him was probably doing the world of good. But now you guys are doing a great job. I've seen all your videos. So yeah, keep up that good work, guys.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And yeah, it's a bit different because you guys obviously have a lot of influence on your senior team, and that's a big aspect of your club. And we're missing that from us. We're just juniors really. The senior team is more just Luke and I having a kick with our mates. So yeah, so not really to the standard that you guys are at. But look, we were going to talk about a little bit about kind of elite futsal. I use the inverted commas there. Elite futsal in Australia, and just how different competitions run, and what you find is kind of the best stage to play futsal at. Obviously, you've been involved with futsal a long time, and we've done a few SFAs together and whatnot. And being president of Fitzroy, it's probably a big organisational task and everything to get your team together and compete and go with it. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about any of that type of stuff?
So you want to know more about Fitzroy and organising it, or the competitions?
Well, a bit of both, really. So we'll start with the competition. What's it like for you being part of Serious Futsal Australia? I guess we can start with that.
Look, Serious Futsal Australia for me was the pinnacle of it all. That's Serious Futsal Victoria is obviously great, and it's the one everyone wants to win, which is awesome. But playing against different players and different teams is always a great challenge. You can go and play all different teams from around Australia and really challenge yourself and show on a national stage what you can do, So winning in Victoria is fantastic, and the feeling never gets old. But, to play usually you play the same players for the majority of the time, and then teams will top up their players with a few different teams. But to play completely new players you've never faced before and you don't know much about is a whole different challenge. You don't know what players are going to do. You need to kind of work it out, watch a couple of games beforehand if you can. It's much more challenging, and once you win that, it's very rewarding. So Serious Futsal Australia is a fantastic competition to make, and if you ever missed out, it was it always hit home really hard to miss the competition. So you never wanted to finish third or fourth and miss it. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was always great to play Series Futsal Australia. So and winning it is a bonus, of course.
Oh, of course. Of course. How many times have you won SFV, Jim? You guys went back to back, didn't you, with Fitzroy quite recently?
Yeah, so SFV, I've just won those two so far. I think 2018, 19, or 2018, 19, and 2019. I think we won those two seasons.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so that was a lot of hard work, and once we got the first one, that was a big relief. It was kind of like a 3-4 year plan that
Yeah, it's
we
a big
brought in a lot of
project.
young players. Yeah, it took a long time, a lot of sort of second, third, and fourth place finishes, and
Mm.
finally we managed to make that next step and actually take out the league, which was good because we always had a young team, and the
Yeah.
boys started to step up and really, I guess, show what they can do and take leadership up on their own shoulders, and yeah, they got the rewards for it in the end.
And how important was it, Jim? Just I've always wanted to know, having obviously all your young players that you Fitzroy really give a chance to and focus on, like Elias Parthenos and Sinan and Tal and all those guys and Adam and whoever else. There's tons of them that are all really good players. How important was it to get them involved? From 14s all the way up. I remember reffing Adam in under 14s junior nationals game, and I think I might have given him a card of a certain colour. But yeah, just going from that to a kid who can rip it left foot, right foot, top corner.
Yeah, well, look, I think these kids have come through from a young age and learnt to experience what it's like on the bench. And once they do get on the court, they don't want to come off. So they've taken their time on the bench and played their 2-3 minutes here and there and sat full seasons on the bench as well.
Mm.
For me, that's a big part of growing as a player. I think if you can learn to be patient and wait your turn and really grasp an opportunity, I think then you'll appreciate the game time you get more and do a lot more with it to prove that you deserve to be out there. So, yeah, players like Adam and Elias especially, and now Sinan's really coming into the picture for us in our men's team. Those three look really good in terms of growing as players. But they've done their time, They've all sat on the bench, Sinan for different clubs, and Elias and Adam mostly for us. But now they're on the court, and we see them as senior players. They're just turning 17 now, but they've shown their maturity and won big games for us as well off their own boots. So they're ready to play, and they've done all the hard yards from a young age. So playing in the 21s as well when they were younger was a big plus for us to see
Of
them
course,
do
yeah.
well in that competition. They
Yeah.
have bigger bodies and getting to play, with the overage rule, they got to play, a couple of senior players here and there, and it really did benefit them. So I think the youth league was a big plus for these kids to take the next step to the seniors.
I'm glad you mentioned the youth league because you had that season. It was more than a season, wasn't it? Just remind me how many games you went in a row without losing at all.
In the youth league, I think
Yeah.
it might have been 48 or 49 or something along those
So
lines.
so more than 2 complete seasons.
Yeah, including the FOS Cups and whatnot in those seasons. I think it was close to 50. I think Morgan ruined it and we finished on 49. So
That's
from memory, I think
insane.
that's what it finished at.
That's insane. Not losing a game as a team for 2 whole seasons. Like that's East Melbourne under 16 level.
And I suppose
And
that sort of talks to the quality of the players, more so than the quality of the league. Because obviously, and I suppose like Jimmy and Tev, you can attest to this, the quality of SFV over the years has just been going up and up and up. And like the level of professionalism and I suppose more like sort of big club mentality is coming into play. Like teams looking for bigger players and bigger sponsorships and getting more professionalism throughout the clubs. Just like speaking to that in terms of where it's come from back in the day, where it used to be that 3-week rotation between Brunswick, Mount Evan, Thomastown, now to
The dark times.
now to just the purely Thomastown competition, but it's it's an incredible league now. It's got such a different intensity to it. So could you just speak a bit to the the development of the league over time and
How much you had an impact on that, Jim? Because
Yeah.
I reckon you're a humble boy, so I'm not expecting you to say too much, but I reckon you had a big hand in that.
yeah, look, from a young kid, I was sort of watching the leagues. I think maybe 3 or 4 years into it, and at that time, it was laughed at to train for futsal,
Yeah.
and And any team that did train was like, oh, look at these guys, they're wasting their time training for futsal. Like it's just an off-season sport and
Yeah, yeah.
whatnot. And look, this is my honest opinion, and I'll say it openly. Like Pascoe Vale was the team that actually changed the culture, I guess, because they got futsal players, futsal-minded players, and became a club and actually trained really hard
Mm.
to become a real good futsal team. And they did that. They won 10 titles in that time, and
Yeah, exactly.
to stop them, teams really had to mimic what they did, and train and commit a lot more and find players who were futsal based and not so much football based. So
Yeah,
look, Dick Vipers I think at the time were already training, but they weren't so much around the futsal scene.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Pascoe was the first team for anyone in the league to really see be a futsal team, a futsal club. So I think from there, everyone wanted to stop them, and you see a team winning so much, you want to beat them. So
Yeah, yeah.
everyone started to take it more seriously, and in the end, a lot of teams have now caught up, and there's a lot more competition now. But I
Yeah.
think the basis of growing the league on the court was Pascoe really taking it to the next level back in maybe 2010, 11.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
from there, it's just grown more and more. And off the court, to answer your question, Tev, it's just commitment, I guess, to the league. I think myself, Shaban, Peter, obviously, Ernie Simsek, and then you've had your commissioners over the years, Nick Chipper, Josh Ring. All these guys have contributed. Theo Lascaris, mostly.
Yeah.
He did so much for the league as well. So over time, you just learn different ways to continue growing the league. It still has a lot we can improve on, of course, and it's really hard to still be involved in growing the league and a player as well. But I think everyone understands it. It's for the benefit of the league, and it's very, very non-biased. When decisions are made, when it comes to suspensions and whatnot, that's all left up to the commissioners that aren't involved. And
Yeah.
And that's all we have time for.
See you later, Jimmy. Bit of technical difficulties. Jimmy is just disconnected.
One
He's
mention of the commissioner, and Jimmy started running.
Welcome back, Jimmy.
What did I cut out? Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Nah, it's all good. But we got the gist of what you're saying, so that's awesome. That's a pretty good answer to that, I reckon. That's a well timed cut out if I've ever seen
All
one.
time disconnect.
But look, we've been interviewing now for like 15 minutes nearly, so we'll bring a bit of fun into it. Lukey, do you want to tell Jimmy about the Football Frankenstein game?
Yeah, all right. Well, so I don't know if you've been listening to the podcast much, Jimmy, but a couple of weeks ago, Tev and I did a segment called Football Frankenstein, where essentially you pick 5 attributes from players. So first attribute is their heading ability, second attribute is their love for the game or their heart, third attribute is their strength, and then fourth and fifth are their right foot and left foot. So essentially you're going to build your personal best player using those 5 attributes. So we'll start from the top, start from the head. So if you could pick one footballer, present or past, to have their heading ability, like if you're trying to build the best player you possibly can, who would you pick?
Probably Didier Drogba.
Drogba?
My man.
I like it.
Yeah, Didier Drogba, yeah.
I like it. I think that's what you picked it. I think Ruse also picked.
Ruse mentioned Drogba too. He was in my team as well, my player, so that's a good choice.
Nice. So the next one is their heart and soul, so the left side of their body. So if you got to pick one player's, love for the game or the way they play their specific style of football, who would you pick? Like if you wanted to sort of take that essence out of somebody and put it into a player, who would you sort of take it from?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's so many great leaders over the years, but probably Carlos Puyol from Barcelona.
Puyol, I like it. That's
Puyol. Yeah, he always, every time I watched him, he always, would give everything for his team and his club. So, was really a great
we're
leader.
2 from 2 right now. I think we're 2 from 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you and Tev have the same player so far. All right, next one then. The right side of their body is going to be their brute strength. So if you had to pick a player's physical strength and their physicality, who would you pick?
It would have to be Cristiano Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, I like it.
Yeah, Ronaldo's, I think, underrated with how strong and how fit he is. So I think, Ronaldo.
I like it. All right, and now second last one is going to be their left foot. So obviously, whose left foot would you take?
Hard to go past Lionel Messi, really.
Yeah. That's an easy one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's hard to go past.
It's not bad. Personally, I took Roberto Carlos.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Roberto Carlos is a good one.
Yeah, just because that absolute power. And
Yeah,
last one's going to be the right foot. So who's right foot? So you can't use the same player twice.
yeah, definitely, yeah. Right foot. Let's say Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh, a new one.
I like it.
Kevin De Bruyne, yeah.
I
Not
like it.
bad. And the last little bit, Jim, was it's a hidden attribute. If you could pick anything from a footballer, it could be I don't know, haircuts or
We're calling it the superstar attribute. Like Turv picked David Beckham's free kick ability. That was his one.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I think mine was Ronaldinho's flair or something like that.
but Axel Witsel was second on my list for his haircut. So.
Yeah, so a superstar attribute from any player.
Superstar attribute. I'd probably say N'Golo Kante's engine. The way he just runs around the entire game and doesn't stop. He'll never stop at anything, to get the ball back for his team.
I
So
like it. You
that's
built yourself
probably
quite
mine.
the player there, Jimmy.
That's
be a good
yeah,
player,
that's
wouldn't
a really
I like
nimble
it.
little.
It's yeah, it's different. I like it.
That's good. Jim, how do you feel about Liverpool winning the league at Chelsea's
Look,
help?
not wrapped about it, but I don't think anyone was going to stop them. So I let them have their time in the sun, I guess.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy, but then again, I can't wait for Chelsea to win the title next year. So
Yeah, that's
No
it.
worries.
That's it.
made some good transfers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's looking up.
looking good on paper. So hopefully we can get it going.
Wicked. So I just thought of a couple of things to ask you, Jim. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to pick two teams and compare them, and I just want you to give me your opinion on the game, or Luke, you can do it too, I reckon. So I'm going to pick Prime 2010-11 Pasco Vale versus 2019 Moreland. How's that game going to go down? It's like classic teams on NBA all the time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
2010 Who was in the 2010 Pasco? I mean, I would have personally taken like 2014 Pasco.
All right, well, we'll change it because actually I wasn't here in 2010.
2015 Pasco, maybe?
2014, 15.
Yeah.
I reckon. Oh, I don't know. Purely just because of the experience they've got behind them, I'll take Pasco.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I'm saying which player would stand out for you? Who'd be the game changer? Who do you see winning the game in the last 4 seconds or losing the game in the last 10?
I don't know.
Taking it to the corner.
Because you've got to think about who was actually in that Pasco team back in the day. You had Andre, Joao, Mateo, Breno was playing, Sof was playing. They had Joe Bate in goals. They had Jimmy Zabo on the bench. They had Shui as well, Shuchiro, and they had a solid team on them. And I reckon
This is 2019 superstar Moreland.
But I reckon that their experience would beat that team.
Carry it over the line.
Yeah.
So you're not backing Cozzy, double MVP I think. Cozzy, Krupa, Lucas Vaz, Ate.
No.
Not for you?
No, I don't reckon.
Fair enough.
I reckon. What about you, Jimmy?
I'd have to agree. I think in that game, Sofian Soufi in his prime would have been the difference in that game. I think
100%.
if you look back at a lot of the old games, which I've done a little bit of over this time, you see that in almost every game, whether they won or lost, Soufi would score 1, 2, 7 goals in a game. But generally, he'd always have at least 1 or 2 to his name, and he'd always score at crucial times. You look in the finals, in times they were down in big games, Sof always scored. So I've always said Pascoe wouldn't have 10 titles if it wasn't for Sof during that time, and I do stand by that. I think he was just too much of a big game player in that time, and I think if they were to play the 29 Morn team, that he would be the difference maker again.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. Just my excuse is I haven't been here to see that Pasco team in action.
True.
So the only team that I've seen in action is that 2019 Moreland team,
and it is a very, very good team. It is a very strong team, but
yeah, both teams are definitely right up there. They're top quality, but I think that would be the
compared
difference.
to that Pasco team. I definitely think that Pasco team could take it. Jimmy, do you remember that? Do you remember that game? I can't remember if it was maybe the 2015. Back when it was still called the Schnitz Cup. I think it was the Foz Schnitz Cup.
The Foz Cup, yeah.
Do you remember that grand final at Mount Ev between it was Vipers and Pasco, and it went into
I think
time.
Vipers were up 5-0.
Yeah, and then Pasco played fifth man, came back
from 5-0
down,
yeah.
came back, played fifth man, and that was probably one of the best games of futsal I've ever seen.
Got to find this in the archives.
I think it was recently posted to be honest, but I think again if you look in that game, Soufi was a big teller in that game as well.
Oh,
Soufis and Joel da Silva, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, Soufis did kickstart the comeback, I think, if
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that was quite an unbelievable game.
that was a ridiculous game. That game in just from back when I was watching it when I was first getting into futsal. I hold that game up with almost the level of excitement that the final game of the season last season had between Wolves and Pasco. It sort of had the same level of excitement and same level of the comeback from the team that people didn't expect to win.
Yeah, exactly right. I think there was a good crowd in that day as well. I think Pasco heavy, but it was good atmosphere to be around.
For sure.
Just quickly, Jim, what's the best futsal stadium?
Mount Evelyn. Mount
100%.
Evelyn is the best
Thank you.
futsal stadium.
Thank you.
100%.
We knew that. We just wanted to get it out in the open from you.
Yeah.
Stadium, yeah, let's make that clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, not travel time.
No.
Fair enough. All right, well, carrying on. What about the two-time Fitzroy SOV winning team or the triple Carlton Hart winning team? Both, in their primes as they were. Who's going to win that game? I guess, Lukey, I better start with you to give Jimmy some time to...
I mean, it's going to be hard for Jimmy not to say Fitzroy because he was a part of both those back-to-backs. But I don't know. It's hard to say because, again, looking at it on paper, I would pick the Carlton teams just because of the experience that the players leading that team had. But then again, you've got Nando at Fitzroy, and that man is buckets of experience compared to anyone else. He's like the Vince Carter of Futsal Oz.
Drafted in the 90s.
Yeah, he's the last of his kind playing. But yeah, sorry, Jimmy. I reckon I would take those Carlton teams.
No, that's fine. I actually had a similar conversation with Shaban Rajab recently about which teams would win. Well, he actually stated that they would have won 6 in a row if all their players wouldn't have left. But look, I reckon we could have stopped them in that time. Yeah,
run them off their feet. Use the youthfulness to your advantage. You reckon?
I think. Look, I honestly think over a season the games would be close, and I don't think any team would have won all 3 games in one season against the one opponent. So personally, I think a final series over 5 games, similar to the NBA, would be a lot more telling for futsal. I think if you played a 5-game sort of final series against the same team, you'd get a more clear picture of who's the better team. Because we all know futsal and football is... look, this is just my opinion, to be honest, but I'd actually like to see it happen. But, look, over one game, you can come and play the game of your life and knock a team off, So it's hard to say. I think on one day, anything can happen, but over 5 games, you really do find who the better team is. I think 7 is probably too much for futsal. But 5 games, you get a clear picture of who's the better team.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it. I just like to watch that game. It was kind of right as Cozzy and Scott were kind of coming to their prominence. And obviously Fitzroy and Carlton both had a bunch of amazing players, all of which have lots of ball skills that you and I can only imagine, Luke. And but
speak for yourself, mate. Have you seen my feet?
I've seen your feet, but I've also seen your goal scoring record. So.
Talking about scoring goals, have you seen my assist record?
Oh, what wins games? Is it your feet or your goals?
My assist, bro.
But yeah, look, Carlton with Ate, Arturo, Sharp, Zaki, that's a stonks team. Maybe 6 years in a row.
Just putting it out there that we did beat that team. So
yeah, and of course you did. But that's the beauty of futsal. Like you said, Jim, everyone can have the game of their life just once.
Exactly right. You're not wrong.
Fair enough. Well, that was that on that topic, really. I just wanted to see what you boys thought about, kind of taking an all-time team and comparing it to something a bit recent. But yeah, nice, Jimmy. What's the chances of you ever coming to have a game in Hillsville Social League on a Tuesday night?
Hillsville, jeez.
Hillsville Social League, it's possible. Tuesday night's a difficult night for me personally, but yeah, maybe one day.
Get him down.
We've already had him.
He can play for the Goats, bro. He can play for your team.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's the Campbell's team. I'm just the talisman,
Yeah, righto.
But
Jimmy, I wanted to speak to you a bit about obviously your experience in SFA, Super Futsal Australia, because you play against and with all those guys in the regular season anyway. But you guys had Puller come across, and obviously he's a World Cup Golden Boot and this extraordinary international player. And then also you had play against the likes of Siongana. So what's sort of some of your experiences between playing under someone that has all that experience and then playing against someone who has that sort of out of this world level of technical ability and actual skills? Like what's your take on it all?
So first starting playing against someone like Sian, I think as a well organised futsal team, I think we were able to negate him pretty well. I think the same sort of happened the first time he came down. He put on a show like he always will.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the impact in the game that everyone probably thought he would. I think the last time he played for us when he came down a few years ago, he played Pascoe Vale, and I think he may have scored 2 penalties, and maybe got an assist or something like that. But in game, if you're a well organised team, you can stop the individual brilliance. But someone like Puller, who's so futsal smart and just we couldn't communicate with him at all. Anything that he wanted to say to us or we wanted to say to him had to go through Fernando. But we didn't really have to talk much, because he was such a smart player. He knew where people would be, and it made it easy to play. So personally, I'd take a smart futsal player over a technically gifted player any day. But that's just my own preference for my team. But playing with Puller and just having his will to win in the team was something that we instilled in winning the title, and we maybe lost a little bit. But he wasn't taking losing for an answer. So he nearly lost it for us in the end, but he made sure that over the tournament he showed his class, and he is 38 years old. So to play 5 games in 2 days was probably difficult for him and something that they're not used to in South America or even in Europe where he was currently coaching. But look, I mean, having those players here for the competition and for the brand for Futsal Oz and Serious Futsal is, it's second to none, really. You don't see players of this caliber coming to play anywhere else. So personally, it was great. It was great for the competition. It gave it a real boost that I think it needed, and hopefully the next one that is held, there's even bigger stars coming.
Yeah, I like it. So, if you were to give some advice to the younger generation of players coming up, would you tell them that tricks and stuff don't matter as much as learning the whole futsal smarts behind everything?
Basically, Lukey's asking you, would you pick between Lukey or Turd? Lukey's got the tricks and sticks, and I can just put it in the net, maybe, hopefully.
No, look, I wouldn't say it doesn't matter, because you can find a player like Enrique who's so damaging with his skills and his trickery, who can have a big impact on the game.
Yeah.
But he also has a lot of futsal knowledge as well. So personally, I think if you've got a smart futsal player, it's easy for them to play anywhere. You can take them from one team and put them in another, and they'll understand how to play.
Yeah.
I think one good example is Harry Robotis, who left from us to go to Carlton, and looks like he's been playing there for 10 years. It's completely different styles, and he fit in completely well. Harry's a smart player. He's not so much skillful or anything like that, but he does the basics really well. And for me, for a young player, as long as a young player can defend well and maneuver their way through the games, I think without any mistakes, I think they'll grab their own style and way to attack, so their own bit of flair. Personally, as long as a player understands how to play, I think that's the most important thing, but I wouldn't completely discredit the technical ability either.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Like
and just to kind of expand on that point, so how much practice did all these young players put in to get to where they are now? You've mentioned, they did all their time on the bench and stuff like that, and they learned gradually along the way. But in their training and, kind of individually, you would have seen a lot of it as their coach and their, mentor and president and stuff. How often are they practicing, and, what sort of things are they doing when they go for it?
Well, players like Harry and Elias were with us from 11 years old, but they were playing from the ages of 6 and 7, training 2-3 times a week, playing 4 or 5 games on a Saturday. And then once they were old enough to sort of play, they played in the youth league. And I find it really important for young kids to learn how to lose. So these kids were thrown into a team all together as 12, 13, 15-year-olds, and they played in the 21s league and got smashed. But it's another step I think you need to take. So they went through the losing process, and they were able to again appreciate what winning is like. And not want to taste defeat again. So look, these kids put in a lot of hard work. They trained a lot of hours with their own age group, with older age groups, with seniors, and they deserve anything that they get in futsal, whether they go overseas and play, whether they go to a different team. They deserve only the best because they put in all the hard work to be good players. And now it's just maturing. They're still learning, but they know the bare basics of the game, and they can slot into any team in the league. So anything they get, they really deserve. And you'll see in the next few years, these kids really mature and become some of the best players in the league because they've put in all the hard work from, 10, 11, 12. So from that age to sort of 15, 16, where they are now was the most critical point of their time. And now they're only going to get better, from where they are with experience, with game time. Like I said, they'll find their own ways to beat players and score goals, but they know how to defend, they know how to move, they know how to pass the ball and penetrate dangerous areas. So anything else that they learn now is really on them. You need to develop yourself as a player as much as your coach and your mentors can. But yeah, they've put in a lot of hard work and they deserve anything that they get.
Nice.
It's good. Yeah, we've got a sort of similar story in our club with my old under-10s Reds side in terms of, when they first started, they were losing all their games. Sort of these kids' first years in futsal, like they joined when they were, 8, 9, playing under 10s. And we were losing to obviously the bigger, more established clubs like Pascaval. We're losing, 22-1 and like high games.
23-0 was our first nationals tournament.
Yeah,
experience.
And then to go to nationals and cop big losses again. It's really good because now these kids have developed so much, not only as individual players but also as a team. And we've just gone our previous season undefeated, didn't lose a game, and finished with like a plus 160 something goal difference. And it's again like you said, they've felt what it's like to lose those big games, and they don't want to have to be in that position again. So they fight hard every single game, regardless if it's a easy opponent or a hard opponent. You still fight for the win. Like losing isn't really an option for them, which is
exactly right. Yeah,
a good
exactly
thing,
what
a
I
good
was
thing
trying
to
say.
learn.
Yeah, and this was. Oh, sorry, go on, Jim.
No, go. I was just agreeing. Yeah.
Just to continue that is we had our under-8 side this year. Only the second time that we've done nationals, you and I, Luke, as a club, really. And as Melbourne, we put in an under-8s team, and they came up against Jimmy's under-8 Fitzroy team, right, who went all the way to the final. And the quality that you had on that team, Jim, was just incredible. You could see kids that could hit the roof of the net from halfway and all that sort of thing. And they're obviously very good defensively, and they keep their shape and smart as a 7 or 8 year old can be on the court. Really, that was them. Yeah. And I was a bit not worried, but I was kind of waiting to see how our team would react. They were also kind of 6, 7 years old, and they hadn't really ever played futsal outside of Mount Evan. Even that was kind of new to them in the first place. Yeah. And in the last couple of months, we've started our pro scheme journey with them, which is our little training tool that we're using, and we've seen just ridiculous improvements.
Yeah, heaps.
And I can't wait to see. They actually started their first outdoor game yesterday, so they're also starting outdoor this year under 9s. They played for Mumbok, which is my club, versus Hillsville, and we managed to get quite a big win early days. And I'm just really excited to see how they go this year. The Eastern Rangers thing was created so they can play together for a substantial period of time, just like the Fitzroys and the Pascos do every week.
Yeah.
We don't, we're a little bit more split up, so we want to bring them together and play for a long time and trade together for a long time before we kind of take on the nationals again. So that's just another little under-8 story that we've got, and hopefully we'll be playing Fitzroy again with a different outcome in 2021 nationals.
Yeah, well, look, definitely. I think in that sense, I think our team was mostly 8 years old. They've been playing together from 5. So 3 years we had that team, and they played together for the whole time. So they were all top age players and had played a lot. They played the nationals before, which no one talks about, but they got absolutely smashed in a lot of games. I think they made the quarterfinals. But they had a big group, and they lost games by 10, 12 goals, 13 goals. So, and they came back the next year to win it. So it's a process again. They lost and they came back wanting to win, hungrier to win, and they were the top age, so they expect to win. So when your boys are top age and have gone through everything, I think they can really push to win it, because I saw a lot of good talent in that team. And it's just raw. It's just kids being kids and being very, very young. And it's tough to coach kids at that age. That's probably one of the toughest stages to coach. You guys are doing a great job with that team, and it shouldn't dishearten them. I did speak to Turv after that those games at Thomastown, I think. And he said some of the parents were a little discouraged. I think it's not something to be discouraged about because you played a team that was together for 3 years and played. I don't even know how many games together. I think they played maybe 60 games a year, so it's 120, 180. It's probably over 200 games they played together. They
Yeah,
travelled to Sydney to play as well, so they had a lot more experience.
Yeah.
So the longer you keep that team together with the changes of one or two, as long as you keep a core team of 5 to 6 players, you can build from that and really go to win a competition like the Nationals in a few years' time. So, yeah, it shouldn't dishearten the kids and the parents too much.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they weren't. They were just bummed and thought, oh, this is the end of the world. And I told them the exact same thing that you just said and went, don't worry. It's just step one. There's a lot of things.
Yeah,
to still
it's
do.
all
Yeah.
part of the process and the game, which is why you play futsal to grow really.
That's it.
I feel like we've just had a masterclass assembly lesson of
Yeah.
how to put a team together. Oh, wicked. All right, well, we've talked quite a bit now, so I reckon it's time for the quiz, mate. What do you think?
Yeah. You've been hyping this one up since I came from work today.
I've been hyping this one up. I thought about it.
Jimmy, I definitely think it's going to be a hard one because I'm quite a few points up on him currently. And
Yeah,
he's,
look, I'm not very good at these, so I think you'll be winning this.
Nah, mate, trust me. If it's football related, you'll have a lot more knowledge than I do.
So
Let's see how we go. Let's go.
Well, it works, Jim. Right, so I've got an answer in mind, okay, and obviously you guys have to guess. I'm going to give you 10 clues, and the answer can be anything futsal or football related, and it can be a player, a club, a ball, whatever, just anything to do with the sport that we all obviously have a massive liking for. And yeah, so you'll get 10 clues. So after 3 clues, I want to guess from you guys, and that's going to be worth 3 points if you get it right. After 6, another guess, that's going to be worth 2, and then I'll give you the final 4 clues and your final answer. And if that one's right, then it's 1 point, but I can only take your final answer. So if you get it right and then change it, unlucky, which happened once.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the current score is, so it's you two working together versus me. I'm down by 8 points, 17 to me, 25 to Luke. So he's running away with a little bit here.
And we're doing a 20 game season, so it's currently round 18.
So
Okay.
I'm not looking forward to round 21. If we do get there, that might be special. But
Yeah, right.
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Yep,
Okay.
ready to go.
Clue number 1. I was born in 1980.
Yep.
My hometown is Sao Paulo in Brazil. And I usually wear the number 7 shirt.
Right.
That's your 3 clues.
So we've got a 40-year-old born in Sao Paulo. We said,
Yeah.
who wears number 7 usually.
Usually. I like you picking up the
Yeah.
language.
It is a very broad range of potential players here. So do you remember, it could be futsal or football related. Because you're on, I'm going to push more towards futsal. Just because I think he's going to try to trick us.
Yeah.
Because he's shifty like that.
Every time we've had a guest, it's always been outdoor.
And his eyes say different right now. But
I'm gonna just turn away.
Yeah, just turn around.
Put my hood up.
I don't know. How are you on your Brazilian players, Jimmy?
I can't think of a 40-year-old who wears number 7.
Usually wears number 7.
Usually wears number 7.
Yeah. Who do we have any old 40-year-old Brazilians that play at Futsal?
Fernando de Moraes?
Nah,
yes, he is the answer to this
Nando's
quiz.
not 40.
He is 40.
Is he?
Or close to, yeah.
But he wears number 8 though, doesn't he?
He wears number 8, yeah. He's never won 7.
Yeah.
The only other one I could think of, I think he may even be older, is Rodrigo de Faria, if it's futsal. But I don't think it's him. I don't think he wears 7 very often.
Yeah. What about outdoor? Who's a now retired Brazilian that usually wore number 7?
Doesn't have to be retired.
Well, he's 40 if it's an outdoor player is retired.
Why? Buffon's 41.
Yeah, true. But it's the only person.
Yeah.
And he's Italian, so that doesn't help. What do you reckon, Jimmy? 40-year-old.
Maybe Robinho?
Robinho?
I don't even know how old Robinho is, but
I reckon 40 could be a good guess. Because I reckon
He
he's
was
probably...
in Sao Paulo. He wore 7 for a long time.
Yeah, I reckon lock it in. Because he's come up in the couple of previous quizzes. So,
Has he?
yeah. All right, yeah, we'll lock in Robinho for 3 points, Tev. Give us our next 3 clues, please, buddy.
Okay, clue number 4.
So Tev's just for reference, Tev's just now turned his back on me, so I can't see his face.
Start laughing. Oh, I'm not very good at keeping a poker face.
You're not.
Especially against you. But, okay, during the 2008 World Cup, my team finished 4th. Clue number 5, during that same tournament, my team broke the record for the most goals scored in a World Cup match. And in 2007, I won the UEFA Futsal Cup. That's your clue 4, 5, and 6.
How are you in your World Cup history, Jimmy?
I don't think you said which World Cup. I'm starting to think it's Pula.
He said 2008.
Yeah, but he didn't say futsal or football.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to think it could be Pula.
You reckon?
Maybe.
See what
He
I said?
did wear 7 as well, yeah.
And you reckon he's 40-ish? Around there? Probably.
I think maybe he's 39, turning 40.
Yeah, could be. Ooh.
Won
I like
the
it.
UEFA Cup in 2007.
I like it, actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you just tell us the clues again, Tev?
I was born in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
My hometown is Sao Paulo.
Mm-hmm.
I usually wear the number 7 shirt.
Mm-hmm.
During the 2008 World Cup, my team finished 4th. During that same tournament, we broke the record for the most goals scored in a World Cup match.
Yep.
In 2007, I won the UEFA Futsal Cup, which is like the Champions League.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so... yeah,
Pula?
I'm thinking Pula.
Yeah.
Pula.
All right. Sure. Let's lock in Puller for 2 points, Tev.
Pula, interesting.
He's smirking his life away here.
Clue number 7.
Last four.
Last
What do
4.
we got?
During the next World Cup tournament, I failed to score during my team's elimination in the quarterfinals.
Mm-hmm.
I've made over 300 club career appearances and over 50 national team appearances.
Mm-hmm.
I've played in 3 different continents during my professional career.
Mm-hmm.
And I now play for Magnus Futsal Club, which means they're not retired, which is what I was pointing to earlier.
Sure. Thoughts, Jimmy?
Magnus.
Just to clarify, no Googling allowed, Jimmy. Not that you would, but, you know.
No, I'm not. I don't know. I know Pula did play for Magnus. I'm not sure if he's still there because he's coaching at Dinamo at the moment.
We should have
seven.
We should have a phone a friend line. You can call Fernando and ask.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
No. Ooh. So what was the last 4? Just last 4 again.
During the next World Cup tournament, I
Mhm.
failed to score during my team's elimination in the
Mhm.
quarterfinal.
Yep.
I've made over 300 club career appearances and over 50 national team appearances.
Yep.
I've played in 3 different continents during my professional career.
Yep.
I now play for Magnus Futsal Club.
Fairly sure Rodrigo wears 7
Yeah.
for Magnus, but I don't think he's 40.
Yeah. Well, remember the clue, and Tev's a stickler for keywords in his clues, was usually wear 7.
Usually wears 7, yeah.
Well,
No,
look,
I still think it's Pula, but
yeah.
up to you, Lukey.
Look, we either take the gamble and stick with Puller, and
Yeah.
go for 2 points, or we change our answer, potentially lose the 2 points, and give Tev 3 points.
I get 3 if you guys don't get
So
the right
I
one.
reckon.
Whatever's better for you, Lukey.
I reckon we just take the gamble and stick with Puller. I reckon.
Yeah, sounds good
Yeah.
to me.
All
I
right,
can't think of anything else.
Let's lock in Puller for 2 points.
2 points is the answer, Puller. I am Puller.
Puller, yeah, let's go.
Again,
Yeah.
your
So that's
guess
got me
has
up.
saved you, Lucas.
Got me up another 2
Damn
points.
it.
Thank you, Jimmy. That's
Yep.
Yeah, I
That's-
thought he was still on the books at Magnus, maybe not playing as
Now,
much.
I
yeah.
did some research
Nice.
on him, and I could not
Mhm.
find anything about what he's doing right now. I could only find, I think he transferred to Magnus from Russia in 2018, just before Magnus went through their sponsorship thing where they had to change their name or whatever. So Magnus is a Brazilian football club.
Yeah.
They won the league and whatever pretty quickly. They're not that old. They're like 5-6 years old, I think. 2014 from memory. And then he transferred there, and I couldn't find anything on what he's doing now.
Yeah, right.
So that was the last clue. So I was hoping that wouldn't
winning Series
throw
Futsal
you
Australia
away.
is what I heard.
Yeah, well, I actually one of the clues was I played futsal in 3 different continents, but I changed it just so that I could throw you guys off a little bit. I've just played in 3 different continents, but yep, the answer is Puller. So Luke, once again, your guests have saved you because you would not have guessed that.
I would have.
No, you would not have.
I would have.
And now you've got a 11-point lead over me.
Wow, 11 points in 2 games, Turv. How's that math work out for you?
Well, listen, it's actually...
No, it's 2. We said 20. Not 21 anymore.
That's fair. You might win season 1, but it's a long way to go until season 13. So.
It is true.
Don't you worry.
Well, cheers for the points, Jimmy. Very helpful. Very helpful.
In hindsight, it's pretty obvious that I would have gone for Puller if he's here. So Jimmy, next time I'm going to pick just a random one. Do you know what? I should have read you the
But
Tyler
did you like
Garner
how my
one.
mind worked, though? How I said it's probably going to be futsal because you're going to try to trick us because Jimmy's here. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But Jimmy, I should have read you
ways.
the Tyler Garner one. Tyler was an answer on episode 2.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Some
I
of the
probably
clues.
wouldn't have got that.
I'll just read you my favourite ones. Luke, you couldn't guess. All right. So from these first 3 clues, could you have guessed that the answer was Tyler?
I didn't. So the only reason I think I didn't get it because I didn't know he was as young as he is. I thought he was older.
Okay.
So I was born on the 8th of October, 2000. I wear green futsal shoes, which last time I saw him play, he had the green shoes.
He's wearing the
Yeah.
Lunagatos, the green and white ones.
Yep. And I'm usually a flanker. And Luke said pass.
Well, I couldn't because I thought he was older. So as soon as you said 2000, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like I don't know anyone that young.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have guessed it from there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe the more you went into it, I might have got it.
My favourite clue of this quiz was my mum sometimes flies over to watch my games.
Yeah, that might have given it away.
But yeah, anyway, that was a while ago. That was episode 2, and we're now
Episode 18.
Episode 18,
It's been a long
nearly
time.
over, and 11 points. I'm really dejected now. I'm gonna go and
Gonna go cry.
I don't know what else I can do to throw you off, Luke.
I don't know. Makes it interesting.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, Jim, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. Hope that our listeners have learnt a bit more about the elite side of football in Australia and
Some of the different
futsal,
aspects of running a club. Yeah, actually, I did have one last thing. It just came to me. I forgot about it earlier, Jimmy. What do you think about obviously today was the decision for the 2023 Women's World Cup. It's going to be here in Australia and New Zealand with a joint bid. But what's it like to, obviously you guys also had a women's team that were pretty successful. So what's it like balancing not balancing, but what's it like running both a women's and a men's team at the highest level that they can play at? Is it different? Does it vary from team to team or just a bit of insight into what it's like?
Yeah, it does vary a little bit from team to team. I think it depends who's in your team. Over the years we've coached different groups of girls, but if the team has a desire to go forward together and like I said before, stay together for a long time, I think especially in the women's game that tells a lot. Once you can gain experience to play as a team and with the same players all the time, you really have an advantage over teams that kind of just bring players and always try and change the team based on ability. But look, coaching women's has been one of the greatest things I've done in futsal. One of the best challenges I've faced because it's a whole different ball game in coaching girls. There's different emotions and just different aspects of the game than it is to coaching males. So one I definitely enjoy. I'm still doing it. So. Really, really do enjoy coaching women's futsal, and it's great to see that Australia and New Zealand managed to get the World Cup for 2023. I think that'll be a great boost for women's football in Australia because we have some of the best football players in the world, and they deserve to be projected higher than they are right now. I guess in a how can I say, more of the spotlight. They should share more of the spotlight than they do.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing that, and it was always fun watching. I had ref the women's final. I was lucky enough to do that when we were in Brisbane a couple of years ago, and And yeah, it was really good, and I'm just excited to see. We have a couple of Eastern Rangers teams that are the girls' teams too. We've got our under 10s who, Jim, you would have seen in action at the Scarlet Cup and the Nationals this past year.
In the
and
grand
also,
final of the of the under 10s.
Yeah, they actually. I'm pretty sure did they play. Jimmy, who was your? There was this very very good young lady. She played in your under 8s Fitzroy team as well, and she was playing in the blue team that we played in the final.
That would have been Olivia.
Yeah,
Olivia Nicolazzi.
She just ripped it from like left foot, right foot, side of the court. Like, oh my lord.
Yeah, she's an awesome player. I think if she continues on her way, I think she could play for Matildas one day. Personally.
What is the youngest player that you've had playing in your senior women's team?
Youngest in my senior women's was probably 15. So
15. Nice.
15, not super young. I think girls around 14 to 15 can make the jump to play in a senior team, whereas I think any younger than that is difficult because they're still developing a lot more. But also girls at that age really haven't pushed too much to make our senior team. So from my own experience, but yeah, 15 I think was the youngest, maybe 14. I'm not sure how old she was at the time.
We'll organise a loan for you, Jim. We'll send across the Mad Dog to come and have a kick with you and see what it's like. That's
Mad Dog.
Yeah, Maddie Campbell, not Sharben. Get rid of him. The real Mad Dog.
Maddie Campbell. Yeah, no, send her over.
That should do well. Should do very well.
Yeah, she's
she's
been working on a pro scheme and improving.
Yeah, no, I remember watching her a few nationals ago
played for
Pasco. Maybe it was Pasco.
Yeah, played for Pasco.
Yeah, she had an unbelievable tournament. That tournament.
Yeah. Righto.
Wicked.
Yeah. Well, I think we've gone on for long enough. It's one of our relatively shorter podcasts compared to the last few weeks, where we just go down these stupid tangents and ramblings of madmen.
Yeah, it's called a podcast, but really it's just a friendly chat. Really.
It's just
just here to have a laugh.
That's it. But all right. Thank you very much, Jimmy, for coming on, and we hope everyone who's tuned in has learnt a little bit about you, about Fitzroy, and about futsal in Australia. As always, thank you everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next 2 weeks, where
Turv's gonna cry.
Turv's slowly gonna keep crying and lose his grasp on reality of what it's like to actually be able to win something.
Yep.
But yeah, again, thanks Jimmy. Thanks, Turv. Thank you, everyone. And as always, how's your touch?